Hi, Sean here in Hawaii, and today I'm going to show you how to replace the lower Burr felt washer in your Breville Smart Grinder Pro. It's the same part and same procedure as replacing the lower Burr washer in your Breville Barista Express. And I got the part online from Breville's website. It cost about $5.95 US, about $6. I ordered two of them, and then it was another, I think, $6 or $7 for shipping. Probably should have bought 4 or 5. It would have been the same $6 or $7 for shipping, and I'd have a supply of them. But I knew I'd need at least one more, because sooner or later it's going to go out in my Barista Express. And here's the part. It's a tiny little felt washer. The part is SP0001575. I'll try and remember to put that in the comments. That's the little felt washer. This is what it looks like. I've actually already replaced it, but I'm going to run through the procedure again just to show you how I did it, because I realized it would be really useful to have a video to show us how to do that. Okay, so let's get started, shall we? Okay, so of course remove the hopper. You can tell it's fairly clean. I cleaned it already. I already actually did the procedure, but I'll show you what I did. Decided to make a YouTube video afterwards. Now, I'm sure you all know, if you own this grinder, how to remove the upper burr, but it has a little alignment arrow that's on lock right now, so I'm going to turn it counterclockwise to the align, and that comes right out. Now, the tools I'm going to need for this are very simple. I'm going to use a little 10mm nut driver, and I've got a little screwdriver just to help me carefully pry out that part, but that's really the only tool you need. It's useful to have a brush or two to clean it out. The vacuum cleaner helps too if you're careful. And I'm actually using a little magnet on a stick. Useful just for removing those washers and those tiny little parts. So first thing you'll notice when you try to remove this nut is that it's threaded in reverse. It's not righty-tighty, lefty-loosey like we're used to. It's the opposite. So because the burr rotates in a clockwise pattern, you don't want it to unscrew itself. So you actually turn this, it's counterintuitive. You turn it the opposite direction of what you think. Turn it to the right to loosen it. Now when you remove it, you're going to see there's two washers on there, a lock washer and then a little spacer. This is what I use the little magnet for. You could just reach in and grab it. This just makes it convenient. And it's also pulling out that lower burr. Very useful having the magnet. So the when reassembling these, remember the lock washer goes on top. In fact, you might want to just place these in the order if you're the forgetful type. Okay, so now the tricky part. It's not that tricky. I mean, I saw a YouTube video where a guy made it seem like this impossible task to remove the grind fan, and it's not rocket surgery. It is a little tricky to get out, and so in this video the guy disassembled the whole machine, which just seemed crazy to me. But then there were just dozens of comments saying, wow, this is the greatest video I've ever seen, thank you for showing me that. So I don't want to knock the guy, because obviously he's smarter than I am, but I don't want to disassemble this whole thing. So like, I'm gonna just try and pry this up. It's not magnetic metal. These little pieces here are magnetic, so maybe I can get it with a magnet if I work very slowly and carefully. Saw another video where a guy took like 10 minutes to remove this part, and I just wanted to reach in through the screen and like push him out of the way and say, it's really not that hard. Get a tweezer or a needle nose or something. Wasn't that hard. So this is the grind fan. Some are calling it an impeller, but it's a grind fan. This is a part that wears down. These little nubs, these little blades will wear down over time, and this part will need to be replaced. Some of the videos I've seen out there, people are making them themselves on their 3D printers, and you can find those videos on YouTube. That'll have links to a page where you can buy the plans, all the information you need to do that. I'd probably just go online to the Breville site and find this part and order it rather than making it myself. But this one's a couple of years old and I haven't need to replace it yet. It is starting to wear a bit, but the grinder still works fine. So anyway, you can see in there this this lower assembly here. There's two little spacer washers here, and then this is the felt ring around it. You want to be really careful when removing that. Now this is where the magnet comes in handy once again. If you don't have it, fine, just be careful taking the things out. But they're just two little shims or very thin washers. So the next part, I'm looking around for a long tweezer. I don't know what I did with it, but I don't want to use my needle nose because I don't want to crush the new part, because that's the new one in there. I don't want to destroy it, but I'll just go in there with a little screwdriver and very carefully lift it up, because this is obviously very delicate. So you can see just a felt washer, so easy to destroy. But you know, I bought a new one. This is the new one. I bought two of them because this is the old one. Alright, so this is about as much as you can disassemble without flipping it over and undoing those screws like the guy I was talking about on YouTube. But anyway, you take your new part, your new washer, and you drop it on there. Now there's a small phosphor bronze or brass disc down at the bottom, and you're just going to gently tuck this felt washer around that disc, carefully not to crush it. So now I'm going to put those two little thin shim washers back down. They're just going to rest on top of that little phosphor bronze disc there. And then the grind fan goes on top. It slides down gently over there. Now I'm going to replace my lower burr. And you see it's got little holes here that line up with the holes on the fan, on the impeller as some call it. You just kind of line it so they drop into there. These washers, the flat washer first, and then the lock washer. And remember, this screw is reverse threaded, so it's going to go counterclockwise or to the left to tighten. Probably tighten it by hand, but since I've got my 10mm nut driver here, I'm not going to over tighten it though. Just, you know, just till it stops, till you compress that lock washer. Now the upper burr, remember that it's got this little arrow that lines up with the align arrow, and then twists clockwise or to the right till you hear it snap. That's locked in place. And of course there are adjustments in here, fine adjustments that I haven't had to mess with. And replace my hopper, plug the unit in, and I'm ready to go. Now there are other things you can do to clean this unit besides vacuuming it, or I usually just every now and then I clean it out with a brush, and then once in a great while you either vacuum it out, or you can run uncooked dry rice, not minute rice, not parboiled pre-cooked rice, plain old regular white rice, uncooked. Run, you know, about 1/3 of a cup of that through there, and then run a scoop of coffee beans through there to clear out all the rice, so you're not making coffee out of rice. And don't worry about damaging your machine or voiding your warranty. It's actually what it says in the manual to the grinder. It says you can clean it by running uncooked rice through there. It does say not to use parboiled rice. I'm not sure why, but don't do it, because they said like twice don't do it. Just plain old regular rice. You can buy a product called Grinds with a Z. It's made by, I think, Ernex is the company, same company that makes Descal and other great products for your coffee makers and equipment. It's pretty expensive actually, and basically does the same job as the white rice, which is much cheaper, so it's up to you. Alright, well, thank you for your time, and if you like the video, please click like, give me the thumbs up. You can subscribe if you like. You don't have to, no pressure, but helps me out. I don't make any money on these videos, I just do them to kind of help people, but you know, the more views I get, the more people see my stuff.